another Coffee with Kilroy, or what I like to call beverage in a book. My beverage? Well, it's coffee, hence the title. The book, well, this is an interesting one. You know how I am with wargame books, and I just stumbled upon this one. Did not see a lot of press on it, and stumbled onto this one and said, I need to look at this one, and I'm glad I did. This is Tally-Ho, a Solitaire Air War Game, produced by Historic Wings and Thomas Van Hare. So let me get another sip here. Turn this over to the back here. And you can see some of the board in this. Complexity is 5 out of 10. Age range is 10 plus. Number of players solitaire. Time to play 20 to 45 minutes. It says here on the back here, Tally-Ho is a solitaire war game about the Battle of Britain, fought in the skies over England in the summer of 1940 between the Royal Air Force of Great Britain and the Luftwaffe of Germany during the Second World War. To clear the way for Hitler's planned invasion of England, Operation Silo, the Germans had to first secure air superiority by destroying the Royal Air Force. Designed by Thomas Van Hare, the first of a series of book-based games, Tally-Ho features fast-playing action with 15 missions to play, easy-to-understand rules, and a campaign game that brings the backstory of one of history's most extraordinary aerial conflicts to life. Can you win the Battle of Britain? The future of Great Britain is on your shoulders. So there you have it there. Now, that's a relatively thick book there. So this isn't one of your one of the thinner ones I've covered, or kind of the roll and write type. This one is more akin to a war game in a book. You know that if you've followed any of my series, you know that's harkens back to the Minden games type series, and also the Lambo game type series, where you know you're going to have a board and you're going to have an AI, and you know usually split screen between in the Lambo books. There's a map on one side, and then there's your AI, or all the orders for you and for the opponent on the left-hand side. This one follows in that path a lot more, but there's a lot here. There really is quite a lot here, and there's a lot that you kind of have to make yourself out of this one. So that kind of harkens back to the Minden, where you're having to make everything's here, but you're going to have to make some of your own components out of it. So let's get inside and take a look at this book here. Solitaire Air War Game. Here's a dedication. It's pretty nice there. Please subscribe to Historic Wings on YouTube. And they have more games coming. Looks like, sorry for the glare here. With the time I'm shooting this, I'm getting a little ray of sunshine. Cactus Air Force. There's all kinds of stuff they're thinking about doing here. So, pretty interesting. You've got an introduction, you've got the game rules, mission setup, sequence of play, movement, combat, bombing and strafing, victory conditions, and example of play. And then you have your historical missions. You have phase 1 down to phase 5, and there's 3 different missions for each of those phases. So quite a lot of gameplay in here. A campaign tracking sheet, and then the campaign game gets in a little bit, looks like it gets a little bit more into detail in that situation. You got the aircraft glossaries, pilot glossaries, radar glossaries, gameplay materials for photocopying. Yeah, this is where you're going to need to construct stuff for the game. The aircraft counters, the aircraft performance chart, the mission track sheet, the mass formation tracking sheet. So, you know, there's a lot of support supporting material in this, or background material in this book as well. So it really is a an interesting book to get. Even if you're not as interested in the game, there's a lot of history in this book. Assets to help support gameplay are uploaded to Board Game Geek at the following link. So here's the link that you can, you can either photocopy out of this book or you can download them there. Got quite a bit of glare here, so sorry about that. Don't think that's getting better. This is acknowledgement. And he's got an expansion to this game already coming out. So that's interesting. Some quotes from Winston Churchill. Here's your introduction. So it's generally dual column. This font is not, it's decent size. I mean, it's not super small, but it is, there's a lot of words on the page, let's put it that way. But you've got dual column. This is the background. Talks a little bit about how to read the books, or read this book. And then, that's just the dual column. I guess the rest of it's regular set here. So here's the how to play, single mission versus campaign play, campaign game overview. Here's talking about some of the stuff on the map, some of the different things you're going to see on the map. And then you got some of the counters there, or at least designation of some of the different air units. And again, it's talking about photocopying, or you can download from that Board Game Geek link. Here's your RAF squadrons, Luftwaffe, Staffels, data and game counter. So let's take a look at the counter there. So you've got some 2 hit rolls and for attack and defend, strafing or bombing, and you got VP values. So yeah, so you're going to need to, you can print these, photocopy these, or you can download those, but you're going to need to make your counters in this game. Here's how the game would set up. You've got your chart, or your sheet, record sheet. You've got your game mission. As I said before, this is kind of the orders or AI for that mission, what you can do and what the other side's going to do. And then you're going to have your map. So this is kind of how to set up the game. It's talking about setup charts here and starting altitudes. You got nationalities here, and then there's some modifiers based on the nationalities. You've got aces, so there's a lot. There's all your setup type rules there. Here's your sequence of play, which is Luftwaffe actions, RAF actions, resolve dogfights, and end of round bookkeeping. And this is going into that. Then you've got the movement, and there's an example of a chart of how these move. So depending on what planes you have in your scenario, you're going to roll a die and see how they move, and this explains those movements. This is kind of the AI in it on where the opponent, where the Germans are heading. Explains how to movement off map and how you handle that. Again, this is full color. You've got movement and action RAF, and you've got communications chart. So there's, that's going to affect your ability to organize flight and try to, move where you want to move. The communications might not be there for you. You've got mass formations here. This is combat. So you've got, which basically is dogfights. So overview, dogfights, example of a dogfight. And so this breaks it all down on how you go through that. You've got scattered formation, clarification on dogfight rules, fuel and ammo points, jettison bombs, light, anti-aircraft, artillery, heavy, friendly fire, barrage balloons, return to base. So quite a bit of rules there, but I mean, they're just little sections, so not overly complex. If you're a regular war game player, then probably not too much to get into. There's some pro tips here, so giving you a little bit of tactics or thoughts on how you might do some of these things. Bombing and strafing, and then victory conditions. And there you have it. Good luck, old chap. Piece of cake. So that's your rules. So about 17 pages of rules. And then this is an overview, sector map overview of Southeast England. This is a gameplay example. So they're giving you an example right off the bat here. And it's kind of a detailed example. Here's round 1, here's round 2, round 3, round 4. And they're kind of walking you through it, how the enemy's moving and how you're moving, and if there's any dogfights. There you have it. So you've got an example of play right there at the beginning of the book. Then you get right into the history and missions. And as I said, there are 15 of them in here. This talks a little bit about the mission. You know, this goes over kind of a little bit of context of each of the missions. These are the 3 missions that are in phase 1, and then you get the game board. So this is your board where you're going to be moving the counters, moving their aircraft and your aircraft, and then this is the setup charts and the gameplay charts. This is the where the enemy, how they're moving, and then your communications. So those are the main things that you need to do during the game. You've got your setup, you've got rolling for them to see where they're heading, and then you've got your communications to see if you can do what you want to do on that. And so you're going to have that page is really the gameplay for the mission. That's what you need for the mission, and then you've got your map. So you can print this out, or you could play this in the book if you wanted to, but it's going to be a little bit hard paging back through the book to get to the rules. So they recommend having this page and this page separate as you play the game. And so the rest of these are just missions. So this is mission 2, convoy raid off the White Cliffs of Dover. You've got all your game charts and your map. So as you can see, this is, if you're familiar with some of the Lambo books, this is somewhat of a similar setup, but yet, the charts are different. The gameplay is different in this, of course. This is a totally different type of game. Then you go phase 2, and it's got 3 missions and gives you some background on those missions, and then you go right into the charts here. Just a little bit of the map there. So there you have it. So this one's a little bit more involved here. This one's just out to sea here. This Luftwaffe raids on the Firth of Forth. Then you get phase 3 missions, and so on. So you're going to have the context, and you're going to have each of the missions here. So as I said, there's a lot in this book, and this is all full color. Charts look like they're relatively easily laid out. Sorry for the glare I'm getting on that. The one day that I film a little bit later, and it's been kind of gloomy around here, I get some sun in here. Kind of matches the hash marks on here, so I'll defend it somehow. So there's a lot of missions here. So this is phase 4, and so that's your background, and then you're going to have several missions here. There's a lot in this book. Then phase 5 with the last 3 missions that get you up to 15. And the map board this is a night mission, so the map board is darker here. Here we have the Italians here. Here's mission 15. 31st of October, 1940. Then you got your campaign tracking sheet for each of the 15 missions. You know, RAF victory points, Luftwaffe victory points, all this kind of stuff, notes. Then you've got the campaign game. So this is, if you want to get into the campaign game, here are the different phases of the campaign game. It's kind of cool here. You got like an official classified document there. Should I have this at my house? It's kind of cool. So this is kind of telling you, it's kind of a branching out a little bit. So if you did certain things, it'll tell you where to go next. That's kind of cool on the different missions. So I don't want to spoil that too much, but you've got quite a bit on the campaign side there of these checking the boxes and doing certain things. Then you have all the background here. This is the war cabinet vote. Some historical pieces on those individuals. Then you have to roll to determine how they vote. And this is the ways they vote. So you've got not only some history, but you've got a political vote here. Then you've got a parliament vote here. And so that tells you how they're going to vote too. So I mean, you've got the campaign game really kind of goes into a wider view of this whole conflict and looks at it, how it's affected by, how it's affecting the politics of and the government of Great Britain or the United Kingdom. Here's how you do the vote. And then you've got, what are the outcomes? Fight on or surrender, historical notes. Then you got all your glossary here talking about the different planes. So as I said, there's quite a bit of history in this game here. Let me get a little bit better light here. Here's the Italian aircraft. Setting the record straight on Italy's Battle of the Britain involvement. Pilot glossary. So I said there's quite a bit of history in here. Radar glossary, and then here are those counters. And they're double-sided, or they're printed on. You can print them on both sides because this is the front, I believe. I think this is the back of those. Yeah, the reverse side. And then aircraft performance chart. So you can keep track of each of the charts, or yeah, I guess you can keep track of stuff here. There's a dogfight records, start position, stuff like that. It's kind of interesting. Here's your mission tracking sheet, and then your mass formation. So if you've got, there's some rules in there on mass formation. This is where you keep several of the counters in here and maybe just keep one on the board. And air combat, a realistic depiction. This looks like it's an actual story. And then you got game design notes. And player guide and advisory. This is how you use those different charts, like the airplane, marking off stuff for the airplane there, the planes. And something about the author here. There you have it. An excerpt from the first speech of Winston Churchill to the House of Commons 3 days after becoming Prime Minister. And there you have it. There is Tally Ho. So as you can see here, there is a lot in this book. Not that there's not in the other War Games books, but this one, in my opinion, is probably one of the more comprehensive of the War Game books I've covered, as far as having the rules, having the game in there, but having a lot of support for the game, having a lot of context for the game, having an extended game when they get into the politics and the like. So very, glad I found this. I got this off Amazon. I don't know if it's available anywhere else, but there you have it. It's not cheap in that it's probably well, I mean, I think it's actually about the same, if not a little bit less than maybe the Worthington games. And as I said, there's a lot of game in this book. This one is again, to me, kind of reminiscent of the Lambo books, but this one packs a little bit of a stronger punch in that regard, or at least on how it's dealing with this topic matter. So anyway, that's what I have for you today. Hope you're enjoying your coffee or the beverage of your choice, whatever it may be. I thought I'd get this to you, and sorry for any of the glare, but it kind of made it atmospheric. I need to get my coffee in me. Excuse me. But there's a lot in this book, as you can see here. This is really interesting here. And I might try to download stuff from the Board Game Geek, making copies out of this book, and might play havoc on that spine over time. But anyway, love to know your thoughts on this. Does this look interesting? Does this look like something that you want to try? If you're into war game books, then this is probably a no-brainer. If you're into the Battle of Britain or air combat, I've covered a few air combat war game books, and which a lot of these, in some respects, sometimes these games owe homage to B-17, Queen of the Skies, which wasn't a war game book, but was one of the earlier solitaire air combat type games, doing bombing runs over Germany. This is the reverse. This is Germany attacking the United Kingdom. And so so if you're into that and like a solitaire experience, or grew up with the air war solitaire experience, then this might be something for you. If you don't like doing your own counters, doing it yourself, then there is going to be some effort here. Not a lot. I mean, the charts and the game boards are kind of right there. It's all about you're making the counters to put on the map itself. So anyway, that's what I have for you today. Love to know your thoughts. Love to know how you're all doing. We're getting close to the holidays now, and so some things are winding down, and sometimes the stress in other areas, the stress level is winding up. But there you have it. So thanks for stopping by. Love to know your thoughts on this. And hey, if I don't talk to you soon, which hopefully I will, have a good one. Thanks for watching.